Jump right into the agenda. And the first thing on the agenda is public comment on agenda-related items. So if you're here this evening and you want to be heard on any of the items on tonight's agenda, this is the time to come forward and do so. I would ask you to come to this podium, state your name, address for the record, and keep your comments to about 5 minutes. So with that, public comment is open.
Good evening and Happy New Year. We're back in a new year. So Pascal Javans, District 3 Councilman, I'm here at the request of some of my constituents who could not make it tonight. So regarding the log fall, there was a few things who popped out there were in the plan tonight, were not on the plan who came before us. Council, that's probably started almost a year ago. We see now a fire access on Longolo Park, so that was not there before, and the people are wondering why it's showing up there. The second one is that there is 3 more lots on the bottom. When you enter initially on what was approved by council, there was only 8 lots, and now there is 11 lots and 3 lots who got put over open space. So the question here is that that's going to reduce the open space, and now we're talking about an amendment on the plan compared to what was voted at the council. And regarding the fire access, because I kind of got familiar to it with a next project was coming in front of the council with the Longolo Park subdivision, and I think you should talk to the fire chief about that before approving anything on that. That looks like that will meet the requirement for phase 1, but that won't meet the requirement for phase 2, because I won't meet the requirement of the code section D104.3. You're probably familiar with it now, because we look at that at Longolo. So, and the staff who's me questioning that on phase 1 and 2, I don't see anything about the turning lane to enter the property. If you probably remember, that was one of the conditions of approval when that was passed in the council, that maybe I have that somewhere. No, I don't have it with me, but the condition of approval was that the turning lane and all the improvement would be made before any disturbance was done. So I don't see anywhere anything on the phase 1, so I was wondering why. It's a question. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak on the agenda? All right, seeing no one, will close public comment on the agenda-related items and move into item 2, which is 217 Peach Valley Private Detached Garage.
Good evening, Commissioners. Brad Hickman, Staff Planner. The owner and applicant request approval of a site plan for a detached garage with alternative architecture on 0.93 acres, zoned R40, low-density residential district, located at 217 Peach Valley Point. It's a little hard to see, but see if I can get the pointer to work. This is the site where they want to build. And then we have the architecture of a metal building.
All right, thank you. Do we have a representative for the applicant or the applicant? If you could just state your name, address for the record.
Max Edwards, 217 Peach Valley Point.
Okay. I guess when we've looked at these, we're primarily looking for similar structures in the neighborhood when we have one that doesn't have an HOA. So are there other metal outbuildings in that area that you're aware of?
We, on the resubmittal, we sent pictures of several of those in. There's, probably 50 of them within a half mile of us.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's pretty typical
quite
out
a few,
that
yes.
area. So, okay. Yeah, as long as it's within the setbacks and there's similar buildings, we've been pretty much approving these. So I don't see any problems with it. Anybody have any questions or concerns? Okay. Yeah. I would say, yeah, just as long as you've sent those, building locations to them, then we should be in good shape.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the time. Item 3 is 519 Redstone Drive detached garage site plan.
Good evening, Commissioners. Charlie Peary, Staff Planner. The owner and applicant requests approval of a site plan to construct a detached garage with alternative architecture on .46 acres. This property is zoned R15, medium-density residential, located at 519 Redstone Drive. Staff had some minor comments overall with the site, one being relocating the proposed building back a few feet because the new building code requires a 12-foot building separation and is listed on the plan, so they'd have to move that a little bit. Other than that, that is pretty much all that I had. The applicant is present.
All right, thank you. We can have the applicant or representative.
Austin Christian, 6 Fair Road, Gallatin, Tennessee. So we intended to move it to 2 feet behind the house, and then impervious area is going to be over 800 square feet, so we'll have to do some sort of a silt fence for erosion control. Outside of that, I think it's the norm.
Yeah,
This one's actually a little different. This one's got a brick face on it with metal siding on 3 walls, but a little bit different.
Changing it up.
Yeah, yeah. We did, I think on the resubmittal that they sent over, there was a couple different addresses with similar buildings, so same old, same old.
All right. So I think that's pretty straightforward. Anybody have any questions?
Just about the existence of others in that neighborhood, because I know that neighborhood has been one that we've gotten a lot of inquiries about, or complaints about, I should say, property maintenance complaints. And so I'm familiar with others existing in that neighborhood, but that doesn't mean they don't.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's what he indicated. They're going to provide some addresses where
Okay.
they're located.
Yeah, 110 Greystone and 130 Greystone. A couple other structures that have brick faces with metal siding on the other 3 sides. This one's, yeah, like I said, this one's quite a bit different because we're putting brick on the face of it. I think the intention for the homeowner as well as for us was noticing some of those structures around that area, just trying to keep the general feeling of that neighborhood similar. So added some brick to the front.
Okay. And that's what we're looking for. So.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one you definitely won't see from the road.
Maybe.
Yeah. You might see the front of it from the road.
See the front, yeah. I think you'll see the brick on the front. May not see the other sides, but
Oh, from the drive, through the driveway, I see, okay.
Nothing else. We'll see you back in a couple weeks. All right. Thanks. Item 4 is Royal Rover final plat.
The owner and applicant request approval of a final plat for Royal Rover on 1.16 acres zoned MU Mixed Use District located at 1024 Freedom Church Road. Staff had mainly comments, clean up on the plat, though did want some clarity on how much of the road here at this cul-de-sac was going to be built and dedicated with the project.
We have a representative for the applicant.
Drew Ferguson, Greenland Design. We agreed to all staff comments. Here to answer any questions.
Okay, can you maybe expand on how much of the cul-de-sac is going to be built and dedicated with the project? I would assume all of it.
Yeah, I believe all of it. Civil Site's actually the ones doing the final plat. It was a job that we did probably 2 years ago and just never went for the final plat. But yeah, I believe we're dedicating that entire cul-de-sac.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was the only real question on this one, so.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks. Item 5 is GG Market Alternative Sign Plan.
Good evening, Kimberly, staff planner. This is in the Tulip Park, excuse me.
Hey, Kimberly, it's number 5. This is for an alternative sign plan for Gigi's Market. They are requesting approval to change their existing sign to have, I believe, just digital numbers on it so they can change the gas prices. I believe they've agreed to lower the sign to 8 feet, which is a requirement typically for digital signs, is that non-conforming signs be lowered to 8 feet. It is, however, within 250 feet of a couple single-family residences, which is why it's before you today. Staff cannot approve that. If you look at the location, it is on South Water. It's at that corner of South Water and Witherspoon Avenue. We've asked for some information about site triangles, making sure we're not creating an unsafe traffic situation right there, because it is right at that corner. But there are not single-family homes right adjacent to it, but they are within that circle. So that is why that is before you tonight.
I'm
Yes.
sorry, I should know this, but can you help me get my bearings a little bit better? Witherspoon, oh, is this by the red light by Maple Street?
Yes.
Okay,
Across the
got it.
street
I know
there
it
from
is.
the.
Yep.
Yes, and the applicant is here tonight.
Chinola Faragala, 617 South Water Avenue. I'm here to try get approved, just to move the number to make it easy, because it's hard with condition, weather, cold, hot, and number keep fail to hurt the people who change the number. In it's too old number in next door building Dollar General is going all white, cover my store. You can't see, when you come from 109, you can't see my store. Because put in a new, brand new Dollar General in the parking lot next door for bowling alley parking lot, and hard to see my store when you come from 109. And you know, if you look, it's too old and keep hurt people. Most people work for me as the guards and hurt the guard when change the number. As just asking to get the number to making just one number digital.
So let me ask you, is that sign, does that current sign light up at night?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
been there for like 4 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So what you're wanting to do is go from a backlit sign to one that just has the numbers?
Yes, that's it.
Digital.
Like yes, sir.
Okay. And
Yeah, it's going easy with the register when we change gas price, going straight.
I understand.
to the
And then-
sign.
And you're going to lower it down to the 8 feet?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. I think it's an improvement, actually.
Make sure I understand, this thing is currently about, what, 14 feet, and we're gonna, maybe more, and we're lowering it down to an 8 feet to the top of the sign, is that correct?
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree with.
To be code compliant.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
All right, next.
Yeah, because I think the spirit of the digital signs, when we talk about those being next to residential areas, was more about the signs that have movement and motion and lights flashing that are.
There's no flash, no moving, nothing. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I understand.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I think what he's asking for is probably less intrusive than what's there now, so, yeah, I think you'll be good.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Okay.
see you back in a couple
Thank
weeks,
you.
thanks.
Appreciate it.
Item 6 is Tulip Poplar Mini Storage Site Plan.
Sorry about that, I jumped the gun. Kimberly Atley, staff planner. The owner applicant requests approval for a site plan constructing a 15,770 square foot, 3-story self-storage building and a 1,195 square foot office building with parking on 3.63 acres, Zone CS, Commercial Service District. It's located at 1172 Tulip Poplar Drive. A little bit of background on this. There was a variance that was approved on June 2024, and then a revised plat in July, just recently on this. And the variance was for the sides, and then the revised plat. There were minor corrections. Other than that, staff has no issues. The applicant is here if you have any questions.
Can we have a representative for the applicant?
Drew Ferguson, Greenland Design. We agreed to all staff comments, here to answer any questions.
Doing some math. Hold with me for a second. Okay, sorry. So where this is getting built, this is right there where the bridge goes, for 109 goes over, so this is down.
Yes, sir. Yeah, to the south, you can see the on-ramp onto 109, and then you can see where 109 crosses over top of Tulip Poplar.
How tall is the building?
I actually have this. It's 40 foot to the high parapet per our elevations.
Okay, so it looks like, just doing the math off the site plan, you got about a 29-foot grade change from 109 to the building pad. So you're
Correct.
roughly 10 feet above. So I guess the thing I would look for on this is, with that, just taking a look at screening of any HVAC units and things to ensure
Yeah,
you can't see them.
so the actual top of the roof is at 32 foot, so there's a 8-foot parapet
Okay.
to kind of hide the HVAC systems.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just want to make sure, probably make sure we add a condition on the approval when we do it, that they be completely screened from view in
Yeah.
case it gets built and you can accidentally see
Right,
them. I just
yeah.
want to make sure we
Yep.
avoid that. But that was my only comment on it. I think,
That was my same comment.
yeah, it's a good spot where it's going, so I don't have any concerns with that.
The tree line's pretty
Yeah.
heavy right there, too.
Questions? All right, see you back in a couple weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, item 7 is Hidden Creek Commons Infrastructure Final Master Development Plan.
The owner and applicant requests approval of a final master development plan for Hidden Creek Commons infrastructure on 8.72 acres, zoned PGC, Planned General Commercial, located east of Big Station Camp Boulevard and north of State Route 386. This particular project is split between two different proposed master plans. On the east side, more towards, I can't remember the street name over there. That's the McCain Station FMDP, and then on the west side is the crossings at Hidden Creek FMDP. Planning staff had some minor comments, particularly related to the notes of the FMDP, adding the operation and maintenance statement, the statement of financial responsibility. Staff also noted that each individual lot on this frontage of Big Station Camp will need its own FMDP. And there was some talks about where the location or the final portion of this road would go on the west side, but that'll be determined later on when, I guess, the second phase or something of that project gets completed. And then lastly, staff had comments and questions about the access road that's in the middle of the site there, whether or not that was going to be a public street or a private street. And the applicant is present.
All right, thanks. We have a representative for the applicant, please.
Eric Parle, Reagan Smith, 1500 Medical Center Parkway, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Just agree with all staff comments and continue to work with them to receive approval.
It sounds like it's just mainly cleanup items on the submittal. Is that right, Charlie? You think? Okay. I don't see any problems with it, as long as you can, address the staff's questions and clarify those things for them. But As far as the street, do you know if it's going to be private or?
I think it's to be determined on whatever makes sense, but right now, I guess, private, but we'll continue to work with staff on that.
I don't see any other things to talk about with this one. Anybody have any questions, concerns?
Very straightforward.
Sounds good. Well, we'll see you back in a couple weeks. Thank you.
Good one. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Item 8 is Savannah Marketplace Alternative Sign Plan.
Yes, this is for the portion of Savannah Marketplace where ML Rose and Edley's have recently opened. They have been working with staff to determine where they can put a monument sign for their site. And due to a 20-foot wide White House utility easement that's on the front of the property and the placement of retaining walls for the private streets, it has been challenging to get a sign that conforms to code. So they are proposing a sign directly adjacent to one of the retaining walls, where the actual sign itself is only about 10 feet tall, but there would be a large support up to hoist it up so you can actually see it from the road. So due to that deviation from code, this would require Planning Commission consideration.
So remind me again why they can't put it on the other side of the fence. Is that in that easement for White House
So
utilities?
pretty much anything kind of this way of the fence is pretty much an easement.
Okay.
And also there would be visibility issues if it got much closer to the road for this size of a sign, trying to get in and out of that development.
So,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so, I mean, the way I see this, I mean, they could also just, if they built a new retaining wall and filled it in, the sign would go on top of it and be compliant, so it's kind of just a different way of getting to the same place, right?
There's always going to have to be something to support it.
So, yeah, it's either supported on a retaining wall or it's on the larger structure. And I like that they're adding the landscaping under the base of it, but the only way you're going to see the bottom of that sign is from inside their parking lot.
What's the standard height limit for the sign if it weren't for this situation?
So for a multi-tenant sign, it'd be 12 feet.
Okay, just understand they'd have to build a 9-foot retaining wall.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Essentially, yeah.
So you're either looking at a 9-foot retaining wall or you're looking at some landscaping around a taller pedestal, so.
Okay.
I mean, in my opinion, this is no different than the one that we approved for the Target.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
It will actually help that.
Yeah.
Because it is so difficult to see where to go into there. And I think having
Yeah.
a sign there's actually going to improve that wayfinding substantially.
I do too, and I like it being further back off the road just for the sight line distance getting out onto Nashville Pike, so. Okay. Do we ask for representative of the applicant, did we? Is there somebody here for this one? No, nobody's
Don't
jumping
believe
up.
so.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is pretty straightforward, so. All right, we'll move on. Item 9 is Nichols Place Phase 4 amended preliminary master development plan.
The owner and applicant request approval of an amended preliminary master development plan and revised final master development plan for Nichols Place Phase 4 on 5.62 acres zoned MRO, Multiple Residential and Office District, located south of Nichols Lane and west of Ferguson Boulevard. To sum up what they're wanting, they're going to remove one unit from each of these three and add more parking in. The architecture is pretty much the same as existing townhomes there. And staff had minor comments.
Thanks. We have a representative for the applicant.
Luke Talley with CSDG, and we are in agreement with all staff comments and happy to answer any questions.
So to make sure I understood what he said, so you're lowering the density and you're adding more parking.
Correct.
Okay, I'm good.
Like those ones.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Anybody have any questions? No. All right, we'll see you back in a couple weeks. That'll be maybe the easiest one of the night. Item 10 is Nexus TN Phase 2 South, Section 6, preliminary plat.
The owner and applicant request approval of a preliminary plat for Nexus TN Phase 2 South, Section 6. This phase and section is on 7.73 acres, zoned as R8 PRD, medium-density residential, planned residential development, located east of State Route 109 and north of State Route 25. Staff had minor comments.
Charlie, do you have a representative for the applicant?
Good evening, Brad Snyder, CSDG. We'll get the comments addressed and have it resubmitted.
I don't have anything to add on this one. It's pretty straightforward as far as the plat goes. Anybody have any questions, concerns?
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll see you back in weeks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brad. Item 11, Banks at Lock 4, Phase 1A, preliminary plat.
Yes, the owner applicant requests approval for a preliminary plat for the Banks at Lock 4, Phase 1A on 41.31 acres with 100 lots, single-family lots. It's zoned R8 PRD. It's located East Lock Road 4 and north of Peach Valley Road. A little bit of background on this one. In September 2024, you approved the FMDP for Phase 1 and Phase 2. Phase 1 was split with Phase 1A and Phase 1B, Phase 1B, which is the amenity area. This one is going to be on just the Phase 1A. First and foremost, the things that they have to do before they can move forward is to first, they have to widen the road on Lock 4. So that all has to be widened first. Second, they have to have 2 lanes, the right in and left out of Aqua Road at the very bottom here. So that has to be done first. Now, in the plat itself, there were some changes. We had some minor changes on it, but one of the big things that we've noticed was the new emergency access. This is further north up. And we are referring that to codes and engineering to address those to make sure it is sufficient for that. But other than that, we had minor corrections. And we do have a representative here.
Thank you. We have a representative for the applicant.
Brad Snyder, CSDG. Yeah, we'll work with codes, fire, engineering, everyone on the fire access. Previously, we had it at the end of Phase 2, and it was basically going across country with a gravel road to Peach Valley. Right now, what we're showing is, I think it's lot 15. Lot 15. Just basically using that as a temporary access, and then once that connection as part of Phase 3 over to Peach Valley is completed, then they will plat that lot 15.
When they do that, then the road connection to Lock 4 also goes away? Because I'm assuming you're paving the area that's dark.
Yeah, so that's going to be probably, I think that's going to stay. We're working with GPU. There has to be a pump station put in. So that's going to be the pump station access.
Okay.
Gallatin Utilities.
So if I'm hearing you right, so that'll be their pump station utility, so that'll be permanent, but you'll have a gravel fire access until the phases get out to where you can build it out to Peach Valley.
Correct. Yep.
How much shorter is this fire access than the other one?
I'm not sure off the top of my head, but I'd say a couple 1,000 feet shorter.
The concern I had with the other one was with, the maintenance of the gravel, of a gravel fire access that long.
Yep.
So, okay. Yeah, I'd be curious just hearing from fire and codes if that's compliant, that it works, but and I'd want to make sure there's clarity that it's not permanent and that it gets removed and exactly understand when that happens, so we don't have any problems down the road.
We would make sure to, when we get to construction, that would be used for emergency only and would not be used as a construction entrance. So we would make sure of that when that point came.
Okay.
And we also feel, obviously, we would check with fire codes that this access should meet all the requirements for Phase 1. When it gets into Phase 2, the remoteness that might, and the serviceability, that might be where it may not work.
Yeah, I think that's what I need to follow up with them on is being that phase 2 goes a certain distance out.
Yeah.
Whether
Is it gated?
what?
Is the access gated?
Gated?
Yes.
We don't have it gated right now, no.
Yeah, I think that might be part of the question of how you keep that from becoming a construction entrance and getting destroyed by the construction traffic. So, I'm sure y'all can figure that out.
Does the connection to the park happen in phase 1?
I don't know if there was anything specified of when that connection was. I think the plan, so there's phase 1, and then to the north, there's going to be another phase.
Yeah.
Okay. That's when that's going to occur.
I was just curious.
I know is the way the lot layouts and the way the open space works, is that just because is that happening because you split it into phases and it comes back into balance with
Yeah.
the next piece of this first phase?
Yeah, so we took some of those larger lots in different phases, like phase 3, and did a few shifts just because there was a few stream buffer conflicts. So just trying to stay out of those features as best we can.
But when we get to the end of this, we're not going to be increasing the density or anything?
No. Lot counts staying the same. I would say
Got
open
it.
space is going to stay the same. Yep.
Sense. Any other questions?
Something else I want to address about the turn lane. It's hard to see, and you can't see it on this page, but if you go to the intersection and zoom in, it's shown on there.
It is shown
And we have received construction plans for that and should be sending out comments this week on turn lane.
Has to. All right, well, I think that addresses the questions we had. All right, thank you. See you back in a couple weeks.
Sure.
Item 12 is Banks at Lock 4, Phase 2 preliminary plat.
The continuation, so the owner applicant requests approval. And this is for the preliminary plat Phase 2 for 24 acres, 24.92 acres. It's zoned R8, has 72 lots. It's located on Lock 4 Road and north of Peach Valley. This one's pretty consistent with the FMDP. And then this is the location of where the other road, emergency access road was coming down to Peachtree. This was what he was referring to. We have minor corrections, but other than that, the access lane, we're going to refer back to codes and engineering to make sure that it will be sufficient to use the Phase 1 access.
Perfect. Mr. Snyder?
Brett Snyder, CSDG. I've got really nothing else to add to that.
I don't think there is either. So, all right, thanks for the time.
Thank you all.
Item 13 is Kensington Downs, Phase 6 preliminary plat.
The owner applicant requests approval for a preliminary plat in Kensington Down. Phase 6 is 42 single-family lots. It's on 9.23 acres. It's zoned R8, and it's located north of Highway 384, or 386, sorry, and West Greenlee Boulevard. This is consistent with the FMDP. There are some minor corrections, but the applicant is here.
We got the representative coming up.
Luke Talley with CSDG, in agreement with all comments and happy to answer any questions.
It sounds like it's just minor cleanup pieces, and it's all consistent with the preliminaries.
Correct.
Okay. Seems pretty straightforward to me. Any questions? All right, well, see you back in a couple weeks. That one's pretty straightforward. Thanks. All right, that takes us down to other business. The only other business I was going to mention tonight is, it's January, so the first item at our next meeting will be officer elections for the chairman, vice chairman, treasurer. So be prepared for that.
Council will, Mr. Carter was appointed to fill the rest of Councilwoman George's term. So either at the work session or the next council meeting, they will appoint their representative to this. That's the council's choice, not the mayor's.
Okay, good. So, well, Mr. Carter, if you get so appointed, we'd be glad to have you back.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to returning if that is the will of the council.
Brian, Julian, y'all, any other business?
Besides the appointment of officers, that was it.
That's all I've got, other than Happy New Year's and, 2025.
Yes.